Alright, today is a super exciting video. Today we are talking about the Insta360 One X2. Just released today, this is the successor to the Insta360 One X, which was kind of the first time that I really started using a 360 camera. I think the first time that most people really started using a 360 camera and started seeing the potential that a 360 camera could have. And also why I said after I use this thing, 360 cameras are the action camera of the future. And today we're gonna do an unboxing of the One X2, see everything that's in the box, check out the actual camera, and then we'll go over a little bit of the footage that I've already captured with this camera. I was able to take it out around Encinitas on the electric skateboard, and spoiler alert, it's really good. Real quick, hit that like button if this video is helping you out. That helps me a ton. And subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a full review on this thing. I'll be testing it against some of the other 360 cameras, even the One X and even the One R. We'll be testing it against all these cameras and the GoPro Max. We'll see which one's really better. So subscribe for that. But first, let's just see what all is in the box. What do you get if you order the Insta360 One X2? A very Apple-like unboxing experience. And when you open the thing up, boom, there's the camera. And you'll see right off the bat, it is much chunkier than the One X. The One X was always a very thin camera. I always wondered why it was so thin. It was nice because it was compact, but this feels better actually. It's thicker, a little bit thicker. I couldn't even say by how much. Probably not a ton, but they kind of squared off the ends. So instead of it being so rounded over, this one's a little bit more squared off, giving it a little bit more volume, and it can hold more processing power and a larger battery inside. But we'll get to that in a minute. First up, let's see what else is in the box. This little bottom bit here pops out, and not a lot, honestly. The first thing up is a cable. You've got a USB-A to USB-C. I kind of wish that was a USB-C to C cable. And then lastly in there is the neoprene case. Very similar to the case on the One X, and I would recommend keeping it in the case because I don't think they've done anything to upgrade the toughness of the glass, or they haven't mentioned it at least, between the One X and the One X2. And I think anyone that's owned a 360 camera knows that the lenses are fragile. If you tap them on concrete or tap them on anything really that's rough, you will scuff the lens, and then that will be in your shot forever, and there's kind of no way of fixing it. I still really wish that there was a good lens protector that was really snug to it, that didn't have glare issues, and I don't know that that's out yet. I think, what else did they send me? They sent me a lens cap. That's nice. They sent me an extra battery, and they sent me a bullet time cord, which I have not tried out yet, but I'll show you what it is, and it kind of freaks me out, which is why I haven't tried it yet. You'll see, and I think you'll be freaked out as well. Okay, that's everything that's in the box. Not a lot in the box, but let's actually check out the camera itself, because they've made some big changes physically to the camera. And the first change that you'll see is a full color touchscreen on the front. It is a circular touchscreen, and you tap it, you can see your controls, you tap it again to make the controls go away, and then your record button is right here. And that's it for buttons on the camera. There's one button on the front, and then that little circle is now a color touchscreen, which is cool, but it's odd that it's circular. I know on the one, it was circular on the One X. It was a circular screen right there, and it just showed you info. You couldn't see any video. And on the One X2, it's now a screen where you can actually see. Come on now, what you doing? Here we go. You can actually see a live preview of what you're doing. You can kind of move it around a little bit, and you can tap in and get to some of the settings. It's really nice that it's on there. It's odd that it's not a square, because if it was a square, you could kind of put some of the informational bits in the corners and then have more of the middle to see. I don't know. It looks cool that it's circle, but I think it would work better, or it would be more usable if it was just the whole square middle of the camera was a screen. I'm not really complaining though, because to have a full color touchscreen on there is really nice. Okay, next up is the side, and we'll jump over to this side here, and it's the most interesting side, because this whole thing here is not a battery door, this is the actual battery. Very much like an Osmo Action, you squeeze these two tabs and not only does the door open, but the entire battery comes out. So the battery and the door actually connected, again, very similar to how the Osmo Action did it. But there's one weird little caveat, and it's that the SD card is inside the battery compartment like on a GoPro. So what that means is that if you want to take your SD card out, or anytime that you want to take your SD card out, you first need to remove the entire battery because, again, it's the door and the battery are one piece. You have to pop this whole thing out, and then you can swap out your SD card, pop it in there like so, and then put the battery back. Not that it's a huge deal, but it would be nice if the SD card was not under the battery if the battery and the door are gonna be together. I do really like the battery and the door being connected like this though. I really like it on the Osmo Action. I thought that GoPro was gonna do it as well, and they didn't, but Insta360 did. They just also made the weird move of putting the SD card under there. Honestly, not that big of a deal, just you know, me being picky. Moving up from the battery door, also something that I'm a little picky about is this door, and this is where the USB-C port is, and it's right under there. But what you'll see is that this door is one of those dangly doors. It's where it doesn't have a hinge. It pops off and then it hangs on by this little plastic bit. But again, that's me being picky. In general, the physical form factor of this camera is the best 360 camera that I've seen. The best iteration of a 360 camera. This tall, skinny form factor is better than the 1R's form factor, because this is just a GoPro form factor, right? I like this form factor better. This form factor, it just feels better. I don't know why exactly, especially when it's on the invisible selfie stick. Physically, they did a great job. I do have a few, you know, nitpicky things, but overall, really good body design. And I like that it's more squared off. It's not so skinny and rounded over. I like the squared off sides better. And yeah. Then the last physical change that I really appreciate that they did is the 1/4-20 mount on the bottom of the 1X was kind of notorious for breaking. People would have it on here and it would snap because it was some kind of hardened plastic or something like that. I'm still not sure exactly what this mount was made of, but it wasn't great. People had it break often, and now on the 1X2, that is now a stainless steel 1/4-20 mount, super strong, metal to metal mounting, and that's a lot better. Let's get to some actual footage from the X2. I took it out skateboarding, and while it is still 5.7K resolution, they haven't upped the resolution. What they did do is up the bit rate. Yeah, way better than before, better than the 1R, better than the 1X, better than the GoPro Max. It's the best that I've seen so far. Again, we'll do some head-to-head, so subscribe to this channel. I'll show you the head-to-head between this and the 1R. I'll show it to you between this and the GoPro Max so you can see split screen or side-by-side the difference when you have a high bitrate file. And next up is the audio on the 1X2, and a huge improvement here. Not only did they do algorithmic improvements with the app, but they also did the mic placement improvements, and they're using these mics now to try to cancel out wind so that it can pick up and hone in on your voice. So I did a couple tests while I was down at the ocean skateboarding around. I pulled up straight to the ocean. So the first clip is me with the ocean in the background talking to camera, and then the second clip is me riding the skateboard at 15 miles an hour, and yeah, listen. All right, here's a little audio test. This is, again, I'm right at the ocean. The water is right here. Always a hard audio test for cameras, but the ocean is right behind me. What's the What's the audio sound like? This is totally stopped, but it is pretty noisy. We'll get going on the skateboard and I'll see if it can handle any wind noise while riding. All right, what's the audio like if I'm talking to the camera while riding? I'm going 15 miles an hour, so I can't imagine that you guys are going to be able to hear me, but if you can, that'd be amazing. Yeah, 15 miles an hour. Can you hear me? Again, plenty more audio tests coming, but that was impressive. At 15 miles an hour, I thought, no way will this camera even be able to understand what I'm saying, and it was actually pretty clean. And then to the battery life, and the battery life is better, much better. They say 55% better, which I think makes sense. I rode all around Encinitas for a while, until my legs were totally exhausted. I looked down, the camera was still at 50%. That's way better than any of the past 360 cameras that I've used. The 1X battery was a 1200 milliamp battery, while the 1X2 is a 1630 milliamp battery. So 430 milliamps more in the new battery, a much larger form factor there. And again, app upgrades, software upgrades that help with that battery performance. So even though you've only got 430 more milliamps, you actually get 55% better battery life. And after using it on the skateboard, I believe that. Again, we'll test that more as well. But one thing that I was super bummed, where'd it go? There it is. One thing I was super bummed about the 1X was that it wasn't waterproof, which is why I was so stoked when the 1R came out, because I was like, oh, a waterproof 360 camera, something that I could put on my surfboard, that I could take out wake surfing and not worry if it got dunked in the water, if it went through waves. Yeah, this guy, waterproof to 10 meters. Now again, you can't just take this thing underwater and expect it to stitch 360 because of how water refracts, it can't do that. So you need a dive case if you actually wanna go film underwater and actually have a 360 working stitchable environment. But it's rad to know that this thing is waterproof as is. So I can take it surfing, we can go wakeboarding, I could jump off a diving board into water, it's totally fine. Swing off of a rope into a lake. Whatever you want to do with it, you jump in the water, you're totally fine because this is waterproof now. And then finally the app, and this is probably where Insta360 I think spends the most time over other companies. Other companies seem to do a great job making hardware. Insta360 seems to focus heavily on software, and I appreciate that they do, because you see, 360 is amazing, it's super fun to do, but when you go out and you film, you come back and there's this whole editing process, and it's usually pretty tedious. And what Insta360 seems to be focused on most, even though a lot of the app features, there's some real kind of, they're fun, but they're a little gimmicky, things that I probably wouldn't use, but things that you might, if you just wanna have some fun, throw something on Instagram, a lot of new features in the app. But one thing that they're doing is bringing AI tracking into the app. So I can do something like pull up a scene, actually track a subject through a scene and through the video, and not have to sit there and do the reframing myself. It will do it for me. That speeds up my workflow, making 360 more viable to actually be used. So to see Insta360 working so much on the AI tracking portion of the app, makes my life easier making videos like this. And again, we'll go over more of those features in a full review, but hit that like button if you guys like this video, if it helped you guys out in some way understand the X2, and subscribe to this channel for the full review coming soon. Also, I have to give that skateboard back this week. I think in like 2 days. I've only got it for like 2 more days. I will finish my full review of that skateboard, but I'm real sad to give it back. Kind of bummed out about it. All right, I'll see you guys soon.